Okay, good day everyone. So I will be discussing about the formalism with the poem I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. So of first we have the content. First we have its proponents. Second, we have the description of the theory. Third, we have the key concepts of key questions of the theory, plot of the suggestions of the theory, and the application of the theory based on the number three. And lastly, we have the conclusion. So formalism with the poem I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. So we have the proponents of the theory. So first, we have the Victor Slavsky, 1993-1984, was a Russian literary theorist. He belonged to the class of Russian formalism. He was also associated with the Russian army during the First World War. He founded APOYAS, the Society of the Study of Poetic Language, in the year 1916, which planted the seeds of Russian formalism. So Victor Slavsky opposed a Bolshevism, a far left Marxist faction, as an outcome of his dissent against Bolshevism. He went into hiding but was pardoned in 1990. He also took part in the Russian Civil War. Viktor Slavsky coined the term defamiliarization in the essay Art as Device, which was part of the theory of prose 1925. Defamiliarization is also known as estrangement. So second, we have Boris Eichenbaum, 1886-1959, was a Russian theorist. He represents a Russian formalism. He was born in Voronezh, Russia. He studied biology, violin, and piano at school. He opted for philology in the year 1909. Philology is a branch of knowledge that deals with the structures and history of language. Boris Eichenbaum was part of Opposas, which was founded in 1996. Boris Eichenbaum was involved with the social movement, ruthless cosmopolitanism. The term ruthless cosmopolitanism was coined by Vissarion Velinsky. So it was a pejorative referred to Jewish intellectuals and dissenters and to their lack of patriotism and lack of total allegiance with the Russian state. So the idea of ruthlessness cosmopolitanism is a representation of the artistic struggle of freedom of expression and dissent. So the ruthlessness of existence is also an expression of freedom, where an individual defies traditional boundaries of a family, society, religion, and nation. So third, we have Mikhail Bakhtin. Mikhail Bakhtin was a Russian literary critic. He brought forward a set of theories that were rooted in the idea of pluralism. So Mikhail Bakhtin, Problems of Dostoevsky Poetics, 1963, introduced the concept of polyphony and unfinalizability. Polyphony means a diversity of voices and perspectives with a single narrative. Polyphony is a pluralistic setup which a narrative uses multiple voices and perspectives to tell the story. For instance, in A Crime and Punishment, 1866, Raskolnikov's internal struggle is diversified through the writer's questionings and exploration of the mental state of the character. So Mikhail Bakhtin introduced the concept of carnivalesque and rebellious in his world 1968. Carnivalesque refers to chaos as liberating force for oppression. It is a deliberate act of artistic degradation of abstractions that are otherwise considered noble and spiritual. Thus, carnivalesque is a subversion of the simplified concepts with civilization. Next, we have the description of theory. So, what is a formalism literary criticism? Formalism literary criticism is the act of analyzing the text, focusing more on its components such as grammar, syntax, signs, literary devices such as meter and tropes. So, a text according to formalism, it is a thing on its own without the need of external agents. So, as the name of suggests, formalism is a scientific technical mode of understanding text with expects a greater degree of mental intelligence instead of emotional intelligence from the readers. So formalism refers to our critical approaches that analyze, interpret, or evaluate the inherent features of a text. The formalist approach reduces the importance of a text's historical, biographical, and cultural context. So formalism, it is holds that the true meaning can be determined and analyzing the literary elements of the text and by understanding how these elements work together to form a cohesive whole. So formalist or formalism, it is the critics examine a text regardless of its time or period. So it is a school literary criticism and literary theory having mainly to do with the structural purposes of a particular text. So we have a K concept or K questions of a formalism, literary criticism. So these are the K questions. So first we have, how are daffodils described in the poem I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud? Second, what is tone of I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud? Third, what is the theme of daffodils in the poem? And fourth, what figure of speech is used in the extract continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way? So we have I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. So I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over valleys and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. This rich and never-ending line along the margin of the bay. 10,000 I saw at a glance, tossing their heads in sprinkly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For often when on my couch I lie, and vacant or in a pensive mood, they flash upon the inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasures fills, and dances with the daffodils. We have next the application of the theory. So first, how are daffodils described in the poem I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud? So I wandered lonely as a cloud, the speaker described as a crowd because they are golden and have a bloom by a lake under trees that do not yet have leaves. Because it's windy outside, the daffodils are fluttering and dancing. The speaker compares the daffodils to the Milky Way star, which stretch out endlessly. He estimates that there are 10,000 of them. Then the air makes waves sound like dances as well, but the daffodils dancing is far more joyful and lively. So the speaker makes daffodils into humans, treating them as if they were a swarm of joyous, carefree individuals. His sudden encounter with the daffodils change emotions. So the human delight the daffodil seems to exhibit fills him with an intense of pleasure and a sense of happy companionship. So he carries this feeling with him for a long time, so that we even alone on his couch in colder months, he can still remember how happy the daffodils made him feel. So, what is the tone of I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth? So, the tone of the poem is I Wandered as a Cloud of Daffodils has a happy and lively tone to it. So, the poet's heart gets joyful, and instantly his eyes behold the daffodils. He thinks of them like glittering stars scattered across the valley which look lovely night. So he refers to their movement as dancing and delight because it is caused by air. They are joyful, happy, and dance like humans for him. Even when the poet is depressed in his soul, recollections of Daffodil's life, his spirits, and he feels as thought he is, though he is in the same valley as the daffodils dancing in delight. So what is the theme for the daffodils? I wandered lonely as a cloud. So the most prevalent themes in the poem are overcoming feelings of sadness and the beauty of nature. So it is thanks to be the beauty of a field of daffodils that the poet happens upon that he is able to leave his feelings of sadness behind. So this poem implies feelings of unhappiness. We all know we aren't happy when we are lonely. The daffodils empowered him to put his problems into perspective, transform his sadness into joy, and reflect upon the beauty of what we had seen. So next we have which figure of speech excuse me. So which figure of speech is used in the extract continues as the stars that shine in the Milky Way? So the simile is the most obvious figure of speech in the passage. A simile compares one item to another by simply stating that it is like or as the other thing. So in this scenario, Wordsworth is comparing the daffodil's continuation or endlessness to the Milky Way's continuity of stars. He mentioned the Milky Way in particular because the reader is likely to identify it as a very dense band of stars. Hence, we anticipate that daffodils to be as many and vibrant as these stars. So that's all, and thank you for listening.